Hi, good morning everybody, and welcome back to my YouTube channel, The Healthy Drive, where I talk to you about your health and nutrition as I drive along. It is very important that we put things into perspective even before we try to understand the root cause of metabolic diseases. In the word of the famous Ukrainian geneticist Theodosius Dobzhansky, nothing in biology makes sense unless seen in the light of evolution. So, to understand why we are so sick today, we need to go back to the evolution of human beings as a species and the kind of lifestyle and food that they used to eat. We have been evolving for 2.5 million years, or even more than that, as human beings. For most of the time, we were hunter-gatherers. Agriculture as a means of nutrition, as a lifestyle, happened only 12,000 years ago, and industrialization 200 or 300 years ago. The availability of processed food just about 30 or 40 years ago, and the ultra processed food just about 10 years back. I will give another scale with which you will understand better. The entire evolution can be said that we have been evolving for 100,000 generations. We understand the word generations. So if we have been evolving for 100,000 generations, agriculture is only 600 generations old. The rest of it, we were without agriculture and we were hunter-gatherers. Industrialization is just about 6 generations old, and the availability of processed food just about 3 generations old, and the ultra processed food is just about 1 generation old. So what I have been trying to tell you is that our bodies are millions of years old. We have what is known as Stone Age bodies or Paleolithic bodies, and the food that we are giving it is Space Age food, which is most of the time junk food, and somehow they don't correlate or they don't sync with each other. That is one of the main cause of our diseases. And if you look at the study of global burden of diseases, GBD, by Lancet, it is very clearly, the data very clearly indicates that the number one cause of modern day metabolic diseases is nutrition, is poor nutrition, which surpasses the data due to lack of exercise or smoking. So the most important thing is nutrition. We know that, but ironically or very sadly enough, when we study medicine all over the world, not only in our country, all over the world, when we train as doctors, when we study medicine, nutrition is a neglected subject. I remember maybe a single or a couple of classes in vitamins, that's all. So we are trained to identify diseases by symptoms and to treat them by giving some medications. A pill for every ill, that is what we are trained to do. Nutrition we are never taught, and it is kind of a neglected subject. Now what has happened is this global neglect of nutrition as a therapeutic means has resulted in disastrous health consequences. That is what we need to realize. So nutrition, because we have not done enough research in it, has been hijacked by other people, by big nutrition companies, and by quasi science. And what has happened today is that it has given rise to a host of nutritional myths, like we must eat small meals throughout the day. Breakfast is the most important meal of the day, and calories in and calories out is everything. So no matter whatever you eat, you can exercise it and burn away the calories. Saturated fat is very bad for you. Red meat will kill you, red meat will give you cancer. All these are nutritional myths, mind you, and I hope to dispel them one by one in the future episodes. So this is what has happened. We have a body which is Paleolithic, and we are giving it food which is almost ultra processed, and then nutrition as a science we have neglected, and this has become we all live in all this kind of nutritional myths which are not scientifically based. So no wonder our bodies are not behaving as they should be behaving. We need to be made aware of what has gone wrong. Even with the Industrial Revolution and its effects, the health of the people in our country, let us focus on India for some time, was okay till say 60-70 years back. In the early part of 19th century or 20th century. The first processed food revolution, I would say, came along when the cooking medium was affected. Like traditionally in our country, we have been using ghee and cold pressed seed oils for our cooking, like coconut oil, like sesame oil, like mustard oil. But in 1930s, there was something known as hydrogenated vegetable oil, or you must all remember the dalda, which came along, and this was the first product which was really marketed as healthy alternative to ghee, which was a traditional cooking medium. So dalda was marketed in a huge scale, and each and every Indian household replaced their traditional cooking medium with dalda. I'm sure all of you remember the yellow and the green containers in which dalda used to come. After that came the green revolution. After independence, the economy of the country was affected, and we were forced to buy wheat from the West. And when that happened, the Americans gave us a condition that we will have to use their seeds. They are kind of genetically modified wheat. So that was a high yield variety which we were forced to buy and consume. So that was a very big change, because this was a step away from our traditional seeds. And then came the high yield rice variety, which was we incorporated because the population was increasing, and it was very important that we have more and more grains to feed the population. So the problem with this high yield variety of rice and genetically modified wheat is that they have a very high glycemic index, and they are not as healthy as our previous generations of rice and the wheat which people were used to. As we move on, in the 1970s, another very big change occurred. That the change was that the so-called healthy vegetable oils were marketed, and they were claimed to be heart healthy. Now these vegetable oils, mind you, are very, very inflammatory, and they are nothing short of poison. I'll tell you why. First of all, there is nothing healthy about these vegetable oils. There's nothing vegetable about these vegetable oils. These are basically seed oils, and seed oils like cotton seed, like soya seed, like other canola oil. These are manufactured by subjecting the seeds to a very high temperature of 1200 degrees centigrade, and then they are the products become very inflammatory, and they are deodorized, and colors are added, and by the time they come to your table, they are highly inflammatory. they can be a direct cause of heart disease, of cancer, of obesity, because they are very, very inflammatory to our body. That needs to be realized. So many changes occurred in our type of eating in our country, and not to mention that by the time our lifestyle had also changed in the late 80s and 90s, we were going out more and more, working. Our life became faster, and we were eating the snack foods which were available in packets, Western snacks and Indian snacks, and the cooking media was these inflammatory white oils, and we were eating multiple times throughout the day, where our forefathers used to eat just 2 or 3 meals a day. So all these changes had led to a complete disruption of our traditional lifestyle. So accordingly, our accordingly our health was also affected. The incidence of heart disease, incidence of obesity, incidence of cancer has been going up ever since. So this has been happening globally also. We have been fighting against diseases which were once upon a time rare, but now have become household words, and we are losing that fight. So unless you analyze what has really gone wrong, it is very, very difficult to be able to deal with them. So that is what this is one thing I wanted to put into perspective, and I'll be telling you more as in my next episode. But before I go, it will be wonderful if you can put in your thoughts about this channel, and if you want to ask any specific questions, you can ask me. I am leaving the links to my social media handles below, and it will be wonderful too if you subscribe and share this with your friends and near and dear ones, so that they also benefit. As I always say, medicine is not healthcare. Medicine is sick care. Food is healthcare. Nutrition is healthcare. Lifestyle is healthcare, and that is what we are going to be talking about. I wish you very good health, and I'll be a companion to your journey to a very healthy lifestyle. So I'll see you next time with more insights into health. Ta-ta.